welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Shonquis here, aka Just Shani, and I am back with a crazy story time. So if you can tell by the title, this is gonna be some mess and some tea. So get your drink, stay tuned, and yeah, listen to what happened to me and why I got left at a restaurant. Okay, y'all, so before we jump into this video, please don't forget to make sure you're subscribed and make sure you like this video and leave me a comment on what you think. It's gonna be a nice little lengthy story time, I feel like. So I poured me up a cute, it's fogging up, but it says Joy. It's a cute little holiday glass. It's kombucha inside of it, so I'm not really drinking, but whatever. But yes, so let's just hop right into this video. So by the title, you can tell it's some drama, and I swear I have some of the craziest dating stories, but I'm gonna just start y'all off slow. So this story time has to do with this guy. We'll call him, let's call him Devontae. And I'm only saying Devontae because I've never talked to someone named Devontae. But so I met this guy named Devontae on a dating app. This was probably about 4 or 5 years ago, maybe. Anyways, met him on this dating app. He was cute. We exchanged numbers. The conversation was really good. I always know when the conversation is gonna be good when a guy can text really well. And at this time, I was just single, ready to mingle. I was like, okay, whatever. So we would talk on the phone all the time. And we finally decided to hang out. I can't remember where we went on our first date necessarily. Maybe bowling. I can't remember. Anyways, I blocked this man out of my memory. So me telling this story time, I'm going to have to like really try to remember what happened. But yeah, so we had been talking. I think things really moved really fast, but not in that way. That never happened. Let's get that straight. But just over the course of 2 weeks, basically all of this stuff went down. And I don't mean that stuff. That did not go down, but everything that I'm about to tell y'all. So over the course of 2 weeks, we talked all the time, every day, all day, whatever. But within the first week, we had hung out probably, I would say, probably every day, like, which is so unlike me. I am actually scared that everybody is a murderer. So I don't know, but the vibes was right. So we had went on a couple dates. He had came and picked me up from my house because, I don't know, looking back, I would never do that with somebody I've only known for 2 weeks. Anyways, so everything was going really well. I could tell he was used to things moving a little fast, and I'm used to things going extremely slow. So he was definitely, I feel like, ready to settle down. And I'm like, you cute and I like you and all that, but no. So I remember him always saying like how much he loved to travel, and I love to travel. And I was like, yeah, that's like so dope. Like, so we would always talk about our experiences and places we've gone before. And he kept like slick throwing in like, we should go on a trip, you know what I mean? But I would just ignore it because I'm like, why would I go on a trip with you? Me going out to eat with you is actually pushing it. But keep in mind, I'm not dumb. So anytime we would hang out, like, I would at least text 1 or 2 of my friends and let my mom know, hey, this is where we're at, this is what kind of car he drives, this is his tag number, and a picture of him. Because at the end of the day, like, I like you, but I'm not a dummy. So yeah, I can't believe I'm telling this. He will never see this video because he's blocked everywhere and he's a weirdo. But yeah, so we went out to eat. I was getting ready to, I would say, graduate from real estate school. I did go to real estate school. I never finished, but I thought I was gonna finish. That's a whole nother separate video. But yeah, so he was like, well, you know, I want to celebrate you or whatever, so like, let's go to dinner tonight. And I'm like, okay, cool, that's cute. So, you know, I got ready or whatever. He came and picked me up. We went to dinner at this Mexican restaurant, and the vibes was just weird. Like, I remember he was such a like prompt person, so he would always be on time or early, and I'm a on time person, but he like beat me. So I remember like getting to the restaurant first because I was like, I'll just meet you there. Like I had to work or something. I don't know. But I was like, I'll meet you there. So I remember him even saying like, I'll just pick you up. And I'm like, it just didn't work out like that. Like it was just more convenient for me to meet him. So, but he kind of had an attitude about that where it was just like, I really want to pick you up and da-da-da. I'm like, I ain't tripping. You know what I mean? I will literally meet you. So I get to the place. He's like not there, which I thought was weird. So I remember calling him and saying like, hey, where you at? And he was like, stop playing with me. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He was like, why are you playing like this? I'm like, what? And I was like, I'm literally sitting in the back. Like, I don't see you. He was like, I'm at the bar. And I'm looking at the bar and it wasn't even busy. I'm like, no, you're not. Like, nobody's at the bar. And he FaceTimed me. And it comes to find out he was at the wrong location. So he was mad at me for that, which I'm like, okay, I see you already in a bad mood. Long story short, he ends up coming to where I'm at. And then I could just tell he's very frustrated. Like, he's very annoyed. And it's like, I didn't know we were meeting here. I thought we were going somewhere else. And da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So we just sitting down, talking, vibing. And he's like, anyways, like, I could tell by this point his attitude kind of changed a little bit. So we're sitting there talking. He's like, yeah, like, what else do you want? You're about to graduate from real estate school, get your real estate license. Like, what else you want? And I'm like, I don't know, like money, you know, I don't know. He's like, no, I feel like let's do something. I'm like, okay, what you want to do? He's like, let's go on a trip. Mind you, for real, it's been like a week and 5-6 days. You know what I mean? I'm like, go on a trip? Like, no, we could do something in the state of Georgia. You know what I mean? He's like, that's so lame. Like, I just feel like we too grown for that. Like, you know, all my exes, we had been on plenty of trips together. And I was like, but within 2 weeks? He was like, yeah. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, well, that's them. This is me. I don't necessarily want to go on a trip with you right now. I don't feel like it's time. I feel like I don't even know you like that. Like, we've been, and he's like, well, we done hung out so many times. I'm like, yeah, but within 2 weeks. Like, at the end of the day, it's only been 2 weeks. So he was really upset. At this point, I could tell his whole energy just changed. And he's like, he kind of trying me like I'm real lame. And I'm like, okay, well, you know, I'll be that to you. That's fine. Let me sip my tea, because this is where it gets crazy. So he's like, yeah, like, you know, maybe you just wasn't who I thought you was. I thought you was more mature. I thought you was ready to, like, really meet somebody and vibe with somebody. I'm like, I am, but I don't want to go out of town with you. He was like, well, listen, let's compromise. Let's go on a cruise. And not that I hate cruises. They're cool. They're cute. Me and my family have done a lot of cruises together, but I'm like, I ain't pressed to go on a cruise with you either, because he's thinking, let's compromise. There's no way something could happen to you on a cruise with a whole bunch of people. Like, and I'm still not interested, one, in going on a cruise. 2, you could still kill me on a cruise. 3, I don't want to. Like, and I said no so many times. Like, why are you not getting that? Like, us going to dinner is actually my speed within 2 weeks. You know what I mean? And he was still just like pushing it. So I was like, well, you're real close to your mom. How would you feel if your mom met a guy on a dating app 2 weeks ago and then she left to go on a cruise? Now, mind you, on cruises, your service is real bad. People can't really get in touch with you. You got to buy a Wi-Fi package to even connect to your phone. I'm not gonna do all that with somebody I don't even know. Like, He's like, well, I'm gonna pay for everything. I'm like, well, first of all, duh. If I was to go anywhere with you, of course you're gonna pay for it. Like, why would I pay for it? And yeah, but like I said, each time I say no, it's like the levels are, you know, it's becoming more intense. He's really getting mad, and we're in public. We're at a public restaurant. So he was like, yeah, if that was my mama, I would tell her, go ahead, like, you know, let me know before you leave and when you get back, but I wouldn't care. I said, oh, well, we different, because if my mama hit me up on some, I'm finna go out of town with this man I've only known for 2 weeks, like, I would shut it down. Like, no. You know, can we do a background check? And, oh my God, I forgot to tell y'all, even before all of this, so this 2 weeks in, I would say one weekend, something just told me to Google him. I don't know why, but I typed his name, Devontae Jenkins. I just picked the blackest name. I don't know why. And I looked him up online, and he had 2 charges for aggravated stalking, 1st degree. Yeah, I forgot to tell y'all that. So I remember at this point telling my friends, like, am I tripping? Like, I know I'm not tripping, but I'm telling them, I'm sending them screenshots like, yo, like, who is this person? Because he didn't come off like that to me, but it's only been a week at this point. So, I mean, who knows? I asked him about it, which, again, is so different from me now. I've only known you for a week. My feelings ain't really invested. So I would have took them screenshots and been like, okay, this ain't for me. I wouldn't even have asked you about it. I would have just probably blocked you and kept it moving. So I asked him about it, sent him the screenshots, and he was like, let's talk about it in person. I'm like, no, let's talk about it on the phone. Anyways, we ended up talking about it in person, and he said that he did have a baby. Not a baby, but a child. So he said the incident happened between him and the mother of his child. She wouldn't let him see him, and he was like, I was so tired of her, you know, basically picking and choosing when I could see my son or not. And I went to her house, and her being dramatic, she called the police. And because I'm a man and it looks like, oh, like you're stalking, because he had been calling and texting her and she was ignoring him, he was just frustrated. So in my head, I'm like, all right, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I half don't believe it, but I half don't care. And this is just young Shonquis. I don't know. Because, again, today, no. So, yeah, he was just like, I wish you would have asked about me before I jump into conclusions. And I'm like, I did ask you. That's why we're having this conversation. So, in the 2nd week, you have to understand even more why I'm very hesitant about going anywhere with him, because I also have this information in the back of my mind where I'm like, to me, you still could be a stalker killer because you stalked your baby mama. I don't care what you're saying. I'm not going out of town with you. So I told him no, and I was like, honestly, if you ask me again, like, don't talk to me no more, because I'm annoyed at this point. Like, you're annoying me. Like, stop asking me to go out of town with you. Not even out of town, out of country. He wants to go on a cruise to like Miami and then the Bahamas and stuff. And I'm like, first of all, I don't want to go to the Bahamas. Been there, done that, got 12 t-shirts. Okay, it ain't happening. But no. So he stands up in the middle of the restaurant and starts screaming at me. He's literally like pointing at me like, you lame. Like, I would have never started talking to you. You scary. Just like, but screaming. And so I'm taking my phone and I'm just looking at my phone because I'm real good at ignoring people. I will ignore you till you feel like you don't exist. And I'm also so embarrassed. Like, who does that? He's screaming and the people at the place are like turning around looking at us. Like, okay. So he basically was like, I'm finna leave. I'm gonna just leave you here. Mind you, we drove separately. So I'm like, you're not really gonna leave me here, but whatever. So I was like, well, here go the receipt. Just pay for the bill and go ahead and leave. And he was like, oh, you think I'm gonna pay for the bill? Like, no. He was like, I'm gonna pay for what I bought. So he had like, he ended up getting just like a beer. I had a drink and I ordered food. So he left like, couldn't have been more than $10 for his drink or beer. Threw the money on the table and walked out, like stormed out. And I'm like, still looking at my phone because people looking at me, and I'm like, this is so embarrassing. But mind you, he kept saying while he was screaming at me, like, I ain't paying for nothing. That's all you want anyway. You just want somebody to spend money on you. You want a sugar daddy, and you don't even want to go out of town with me. Like, first of all, a sugar daddy? Yes, I want one of those, but you are nowhere near it. Like, you really ain't even spent no money on me. Within 2 weeks, we went out to eat and went bowling, but like, baby, you ain't dropped no money. Like, let's be clear. You ain't paid no bills, okay? I still got student loans. Excuse outside. I got the I'm sitting by the door. So yeah, he threw the money on the table, left or whatever. I'm so embarrassed. I'm shaking because I'm embarrassed, not because like he scared me, but it was a little intense or whatever. So I called my friend. I was just like telling her about it. So she's like, well, just stay on the phone with me till you get home or whatever. Luckily, the place we chose to go was not far from where I lived. But yeah, so I paid, y'all, the tab was $20 something. And the man left me like I'm gonna be stuck. I'm like, it's $25 and I left a tip. So it's like, I mean, I don't know. The way he was acting though was almost like, you just would have thought it would have been way more expensive. And I was like, you couldn't pay a $25 tab? Absolutely not. I walk outside, I'm on the phone with my friend, and we just talking about it. And they're kind of like just scared for me because they're like, his crazy is really showing and coming out. He probably is really a stalker. I go outside. This is like to go to my car. This is probably after 20 minutes of the whole situation going down. I go outside and I see him. He backed into a parking spot by my car. He sees me walking out, flickers his lights, and then drives off like so aggressively and so fast. I'm like, so you was just sitting outside the whole time? Like, that's so weird to me. But I was like, all right, he crazy. I go home, I block his number, I block him on social media, and that was that. Like, if you do something like that to me, we will never speak again. Like, there's no let's talk about it or maybe we can. No, it's over with. So blocked him. He ended up calling me the next day from another number or texting me because I didn't even answer any numbers I didn't know. He texted me and was just like, I'm sorry, like that'll never happen again. I was just so mad. In my mind, I'm like, but you really throw it off to get that mad? Like, you screaming, standing up in my face at a restaurant and you threw money on the table? It wasn't even that deep, for real. But you showed me your true colors. So yeah, basically I blocked him. He ended up texting me. I said, if you ever text me again, I will call the police. You'll have another stalking charge. But what's even crazier is that I would say the next 3 months following this situation, he pulled up at my job a few different times, like came inside. Cause you know how you be thinking like, I'm seeing his car a little too often, but I'm trying to give it benefit of the doubt, but I'm still on edge. But I'm like, I'm seeing his car a lot. Maybe it ain't him. You know what I mean? Windows is tinted, so I couldn't tell. But then he actually came inside my job and we locked eyes and I saw him. And I was like, oh, no. And then it was just a lot of other weird things that happened. Of course, I feel very uncomfortable because he knows where I live at this point. Also, he had picked me up and dropped me off from my house a couple times. So I just was like very uncomfortable to the point I felt the need to protect myself. So I did. I remember borrowing my friend. I was like, you need to let me hold your gun because I just was so uncomfortable. I'm like, somebody knows where I live and where I work, and I've seen you at my job, and you came in and didn't speak to me but made sure I saw you. I'm like, no. So yeah, basically all of that happened. Again, this was so many years ago. I deleted the app instantly. And for y'all who are wondering, it was Tinder. Tinder is just so ghetto. I know some people have met on there and got married and stuff, but I never had good luck with it. Thank God. I'm done with those days. But yeah, so that is my story time about Devontae Jenkins. You can't look him up because it's really not his name, first or last name. I don't even remember his last name actually. Anyways, but yes, so if you want to hear more story time, that was a very mild one. I have prison stories, baby mama story. I got all kind of stories. So if y'all are interested in hearing more of my crazy dating life and just things that I've experienced, let me know and like this video and I will be sure to post more. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'm gonna finish sipping my kombucha because now that I done thought about all this, I just got stressed all over again. I'm just, thank you God, because he be getting me out of situations. But yeah, thank y'all so much for watching and I will see you in my next video. Bye.